Welcome to the psych ignition. When a Sigma male chooses to walk away, he isn't just leaving. He is vanishing into thin air. Trying to get him back is like trying to find a lost city under the ocean, a hopeless dream. While most people who leave eventually circle back with a text or a call, Sigma males belong to a rare group. They disappear completely, like a ghost in the sunlight. No warning, no goodbyes, no return. Why is their exit so final? It's because for them, walking away isn't a heated reaction. It's a calm, permanent decision. This isn't about drama. It's about a deep internal code. By the time we're done, you will understand why there are no second acts with a Sigma. Let's begin. Number 1. They remove sentimental value from everything. Sigma males treat sentimental value like dead weight. Where most people cling to old photos, saved text messages, and keepsakes from past relationships, Sigmas see them as mental clutter, reminders of a version of themselves that no longer exists. They don't keep shrines to the past because they refuse to be haunted by it. The moment a Sigma decides to walk away, everything attached to that chapter is purged without hesitation. That means no rereading old messages, no scrolling through memories, no one last listen to a song that reminds them of someone. Their mindset is simple. If it's over, it's erased. They don't do this out of bitterness or spite, but because they understand a brutal truth. Keeping pieces of the past only drags it into the present. Most people hold on to sentimental items because they secretly hope to relive what's gone. A Sigma sees this as emotional quicksand. The more you look back, the more you sink. They refuse to be emotionally stuck in a museum of what-ifs. They aren't the type to accidentally stumble on an old gift and get lost in nostalgia. They don't accidentally call an ex after a few drinks. There is no, "Oops, I was just thinking about you." That kind of weakness doesn't exist in their world. They believe that memories serve a purpose, but that purpose isn't to keep you trapped in them. Once they walk away, the past becomes irrelevant, like an old number that's been disconnected. They move with such finality that even if you tried to reach them, you'd find nothing but silence. This isn't heartlessness, it's control. They refuse to let the past own even a fraction of their mind. And that's why when they walk away, it's not just physical, it's total erasure. This systematic purge is a conscious act of liberation. A Sigma male understands that every memento is an anchor, and to sail toward new horizons, he must cut every line. He isn't deleting the past out of fear of feeling pain. He is deleting it because he has already processed the experience, extracted the lesson, and sees no value in the artifact. Where others build monuments, a Sigma male conducts an archaeological dig. He studies the remains, learns what he can, and then reburies the site, leaving no marker behind. His memory is not a gallery to be wandered through. It is a filing cabinet, and closed cases are stored away, never to be reopened. Number 2. The decision was already made months ago. A Sigma male never makes impulsive exits. When he walks away, it's not because of a sudden argument, a heated moment, or a fleeting frustration. The truth is, he left long before he actually walked out the door, mentally, emotionally, and strategically. By the time you notice his absence, he's already spent weeks, maybe months, quietly analyzing everything. He studied the patterns, weighed the pros and cons, and reached a decision so airtight that second-guessing isn't even an option. He doesn't believe in making choices based on emotions alone. Every move is calculated, every exit pre-planned. This is why Sigma males never come back. There's nothing to reconsider. No unfinished business, no lingering questions. He's already thought through every scenario, the regret, the what-ifs, the possibility of change, and rejected them all before making his move. To outsiders, it may seem cold or sudden, but to him, it's simply a conclusion that was inevitable. And when he finally walks, there's no announcement, no dramatic speech, no need for closure. He's done, not because he's angry, but because he's completely certain. That certainty is what makes his departure permanent. By the time you realize he's gone, he's already miles ahead mentally and emotionally, living in a future that no longer includes you. This process is his internal court of law. He presents the evidence, cross-examines every memory, and allows for a full defense. But once he, as the judge, gavels the proceedings closed, the verdict is executed without appeal. The day he physically disappears is not the day he decided to leave. It's the day the probation period ended and the sentence was carried out. He has already served his emotional time, grieved the loss in private, and detached completely. So when he finally moves, it is with the quiet, unshakable resolve of a man who is not making a choice, but simply enacting a verdict that was settled long ago. Number 3. They see second chances as a weak person's game. Sigma males don't believe in rewinding life like a bad movie. If something didn't work the first time, they see no logic in trying again. In their world, second chances are just opportunities to make the same mistake twice. And they're too calculated for that. When most people beg for a second chance, they don't actually mean they've changed. They just mean they miss the comfort, the familiarity, or the benefits of what they lost. Sigma males see right through this. They don't fall for words. They judge actions. And if those actions failed them once, why would they expect a different outcome the next time? To them, going back to a failed situation isn't just foolish. It's a sign of weakness. It means you're willing to ignore reality just because you're afraid of moving forward. Sigmas don't have that fear. They don't cling to nostalgia, and they don't romanticize the past. Instead of revisiting old chapters, they burn the whole book and start writing a new one. It's not about bitterness or holding grudges. It's about self-respect and personal evolution. They believe life is about progress, not endless cycles of breaking up, making up, and repeating the same emotional drama. They aren't the kind of men who waste years in toxic loops. If they leave, it means they've outgrown the situation, and going back would mean betraying their own growth. At the core of it, Sigma males are investors in themselves. They don't gamble on bad odds, and they don't throw resources, whether time, energy, or emotion, into something that has already proven to be a losing game. That's why when they say it's over, it's over. There's no reconsideration, no, let's try again. No returning to something that's already failed its test. They move forward, not backward. Always. For a Sigma, a second chance is not a generous gift. It is a strategic error. He operates on the principle of a failed experiment. Once the data conclusively shows a negative outcome, you don't repeat the experiment hoping for a different result. You document the findings, learn from them, and design a new, better experiment. To rerun the old one is not optimism, it is a willful waste of precious resources. The Sigma has already collected his data on you, and the report is final. There is no new trial, no appeal process. The case is closed, and the laboratory has been dismantled to make space for new, more promising research. Number 4. They know apologies are just words, not change. Sigma males don't fall for apologies wrapped in pretty words. They know that saying, "I'm sorry," is easy, but real change is rare. They don't get distracted by emotional performances, crocodile tears, or long-winded explanations. They don't ask, "Do you regret it?" They ask, "Would you have done it differently if you weren't caught?" For a Sigma, trust is like a bank account. Once it's overdrawn, it's closed permanently. They don't operate on blind faith or emotional blackmail. They judge people by their patterns, not their promises. If someone has already lied, betrayed, or disrespected them once, they don't sit around waiting for a sequel. They know that history doesn't repeat itself. It just rhymes in a different tone. Most people hand out second chances because they want to believe in the best version of someone. Sigma males. They accept the reality of who you are today, not the fantasy of who you might become tomorrow. If someone's past behavior has proven them to be unreliable, manipulative, or disloyal, they don't need a confession. They've already seen the evidence. That's why no amount of begging, apologizing, or explaining will work on them. They don't need closure because they already closed the door themselves. The apology might make the other person feel better, but it won't change the outcome. A Sigma doesn't walk away because he's waiting for an apology. He walks away because he doesn't care if one ever comes. It's not about being unforgiving. It's about being smart enough to know that real change is proven over time, not in a desperate moment of regret. And by the time someone realizes what they lost, the Sigma has already moved on, completely, permanently, and without a second thought. A Sigma male views an apology after the fact as a tactical response, not a moral awakening. It's the emotional equivalent of slamming on the brakes after you've already crashed the car. The damage is done. The event has already provided him with all the information he needs about your character and your regard for him. Your subsequent apology does not undo the event. It merely confirms his analysis. He isn't interested in your post-violation remorse. He is interested in the pre-violation character that made the transgression possible. Since he cannot change your core character, he changes your presence in his life permanently. Number 5. Their life. Philosophy is forward or nothing. A Sigma male isn't just walking away from a person. He's walking away from an entire version of himself that no longer exists. When he leaves, it's not just about a failed relationship or a broken friendship. It's about growth, evolution, and the relentless pursuit of something better. For a Sigma, life is a constant forward motion. He doesn't waste time looking in the rearview mirror because what's behind him is already irrelevant. Going back, whether to an old relationship, a toxic friendship, or even a former way of thinking, feels like trying to fit into clothes he's outgrown. It's uncomfortable, unnecessary, and a waste of time. Most people return to their past because it's familiar, comfortable, safe. But Sigmas don't crave comfort. They crave progress. They know that going back to what broke them is like willingly stepping into quicksand. Even if things feel different, they understand that true evolution doesn't come from repeating history. It comes from rewriting it. They also understand a simple but brutal truth. The person they were in that past situation is not who they are now. The Sigma who once tolerated disrespect, gone. The Sigma who ignored red flags, doesn't exist anymore. The Sigma who was once emotionally invested, he's already shifted his focus onto something far greater. By the time someone realizes they lost a Sigma and tries to pull him back, they're not reaching out to the same man. He's already evolved into someone who wouldn't even entertain the idea of going back. Not out of bitterness, but because the chapter is already closed in his mind. For a Sigma, life is simple, forward or nothing. If something isn't pushing him toward a better version of himself, it has no place in his future. And that's why when he walks away, it's never just about leaving a person. It's about leaving behind everything that no longer aligns with who he's becoming. This philosophy transforms his every exit into an act of self-creation. He is not running from something. He is marching towards something. The past, with all its attachments, is seen as ballast. To ensure his ascent, he jettisons it all without a second thought. This is why sentimental pleas about what we had fall on deaf ears. What they had was with a previous version of him, a ghost that he has no interest in resurrecting. His identity is not a static monument built from past experiences, but a living, evolving project. Returning to a former situation would be an act of self-betrayal, a denial of his own growth, and for a Sigma, that is the only true failure. Number 6. They believe in a universe of infinite options. Sigma males don't operate from a scarcity mindset. They see life as a game with unlimited levels, endless opportunities, and infinite possibilities. While most people obsess over one lost relationship, one failed friendship, or one missed chance, Sigmas understand a fundamental truth. There's always more. They don't believe in the one that got away because they know the world is full of better options they haven't even discovered yet. They don't dwell on the past because they see it as a fraction of their total experience, not the peak of it. This is what makes them impossible to manipulate with guilt, nostalgia, or you'll never find someone like me ultimatums. They know they will, and better. Most people stay stuck because they believe they've reached their limit, that the best days, the best people, The best moments are behind them. A Sigma rejects this way of thinking entirely. To him, the world is too big, too unpredictable, and too full of new experiences to ever be trapped by one failed connection. This mindset is what allows a Sigma to walk away without hesitation. While others cling to relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of never finding something better, Sigmas operate on certainty, not fear. They know that clinging to something that no longer serves them only blocks the new and better from entering their lives. Their philosophy is simple. Why stay in a cage when the whole world is open? Why mourn what's lost when something greater is always ahead? This isn't delusion. It's a calculated understanding that life constantly evolves, and so do they. That's why a Sigma never looks back. Not because he's cold, but because he knows better than to waste time on a door that's already closed, when there are thousands of new doors waiting to be opened. This abundance mindset is his ultimate armor. It makes him immune to the emotional blackmail that traps others in cycles of dysfunction. While others see a finished story, the Sigma sees an entire library of unwritten books. He understands that energy invested in trying to rewrite a single flawed chapter is energy stolen from authoring 1,000 better ones. His confidence isn't rooted in arrogance, but in a quiet, empirical observation of the world. For every closed door, a dozen windows have already opened. He doesn't need to force one specific connection to work because he is in a perpetual state of discovery, always meeting new people, encountering new ideas, and building new connections that are more aligned with his evolved self. Number 7. They know people don't change. They just get better at lying. Sigma males don't buy into the fantasy that people change overnight. They've seen the patterns, studied human nature, and learned one brutal truth. People don't change. They just refine their ability to hide who they really are. When a Sigma leaves due to disrespect, manipulation, or deception, he doesn't sit around hoping for a transformation. He knows that these traits aren't momentary lapses. They're deeply ingrained behaviors. A temporary apology or a promise to do better means nothing because words don't erase core character flaws. Most people fall for the illusion of change because they want to believe it. They want to think that if someone begs hard enough, cries long enough, or says the right things, they've somehow evolved. A Sigma sees through the act instantly. He doesn't listen to what people say. They could script an Oscar-worthy speech, and it still wouldn't matter. He only trusts the history of their actions. This is why he never returns. He knows that the same flaws that pushed him away will resurface again. It's just a matter of time. If someone was manipulative before, they'll be manipulative again, just more subtly. If they were disloyal before, they'll be disloyal again, just more carefully. If they were emotionally toxic, they won't suddenly become stable. They'll just learn to hide it better. Sigma males operate on pattern recognition, not wishful thinking. They don't entertain the idea that someone has magically become a better person overnight. Change is hard. Real transformation takes years of work, deep self-awareness, and consistent effort. And most people aren't willing to go that far. So when a Sigma walks away, it's because he's already seen the future. He knows exactly how the cycle plays out. And instead of sticking around for the repeat, he chooses the smarter option. Permanent, absolute, irreversible distance. A Sigma male treats character like a mountain's bedrock. It is formed over eons and does not shift with the weather of momentary emotion or convenient promises. He understands that a person's fundamental nature is their deepest programming, and while behavior can be temporarily masked, the core code remains unchanged. He isn't judging you for being flawed. He is simply acknowledging the immutable facts of your composition. To expect a different outcome from the same person is, in his eyes, a form of insanity. Therefore, his departure is not a punishment. It is a logical response to unchangeable data. He doesn't hate you for who you are. He simply accepts it and removes himself from the equation because he knows the formula will always produce the same result. Number 8. They aren't lost. They are ahead of the game. People mistake a Sigma's silence for confusion, his absence for uncertainty, and his solitude for being lost. They couldn't be more wrong. When a Sigma walks away, he's not wandering aimlessly, looking for answers or drowning in regret. He's executing a plan you didn't even realize he had. Most people move through life reactively. They get stuck in emotional loops, chase the same problems, and repeat the same mistakes. Sigmas move differently. When they disappear, they're not retreating. They're advancing. They aren't lost in thought. They've already thought 10 steps ahead. When a Sigma leaves a situation, it's not because he's struggling with doubt. It's because he's already outgrown it, while others are still asking questions like, "What went wrong?" or "Can this be fixed?" A Sigma has already found his answers and moved on to a higher level of thinking, a better opportunity, and a new chapter. This is why people who expect a Sigma to come back are always left waiting. He's not stuck in the past, reminiscing or second-guessing himself. He's building something new, something stronger, something more aligned with his vision. While they're looking for closure, he's already mentally, emotionally, and strategically ahead. A Sigma's ability to detach isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. It allows him to move faster, cut losses efficiently, and avoid the emotional stagnation that traps most people in the same cycles for years. His mindset isn't about escaping, it's about leveling up. So when a Sigma disappears, don't assume he's lost. Assume he's already found something better and it no longer includes you. This forward momentum is his natural state. The silence that others misinterpret as emptiness is, in fact, the quiet hum of a highly efficient system operating at full capacity. He is not neglecting the past. He has simply completed the file. His energy is now allocated to active construction, not passive reflection. While former connections are still parsing old data, the Sigma has already compiled the results, run the projections, and is now deploying his resources into ventures with a higher potential return. His absence from your life is not a void in his. It is a strategic reallocation of his presence to a more fertile ground. Number 9. They operate on a one-strike-you're-out mentality. Sigma males don't do warnings, second chances, or long-winded discussions about how to make things right. They operate on a one-strike rule. And when that strike happens, it's over permanently. Most people tolerate repeated disrespect, broken promises, and boundary violations because they're afraid of confrontation or losing someone. A Sigma, he fears nothing, especially not walking away. If someone crosses a core boundary, he doesn't waste time explaining why it was wrong or hoping they'll change. He just erases them from his life. This isn't about being cold, it's about self-respect. A Sigma understands that if someone truly valued and respected him, they wouldn't have made that mistake in the first place. He doesn't wait for betrayal to become a pattern. Once is enough. Most people beg for another chance, promising they'll never do it again. But Sigmas don't operate on promises, they operate on proof. And the only proof he needs is that the violation already happened. If it happened once, it can happen again. He's not about to stick around to test that theory. What makes Sigmas different is that they don't announce their departure. There's no dramatic fight, no emotional meltdown, no long speech about how they've been wronged. They just go silent. One day they're there. The next they're gone. No explanation, no closure, just absence. And by the time the other person realizes what happened, the Sigma has already moved on without a trace, without a second thought, and without a single regret. This rule is non-negotiable because it is rooted in a profound understanding of human behavior. A Sigma male believes that the first transgression is the most authentic one. It reveals a person's true instincts and priorities when their guard is down. Any behavior that follows after being caught is a performance, a controlled response designed to manage consequences. He is not interested in the performance, he is interested in the initial, unscripted truth. By enforcing the one-strike rule, he bypasses the entire cycle of manipulation and empty promises, saving himself years of wasted time. He effectively filters out those who do not share his integrity on the very first test. Number 10. They are ghosts that never haunt. When a Sigma male walks away, he doesn't leave fingerprints behind. There are no lingering texts, no just checking in messages, no midnight nostalgia-fueled calls. He doesn't lurk, he doesn't watch, and he damn sure doesn't haunt. Most men leave, but they never really leave. They keep one foot in the door, liking old photos, watching Instagram stories, sending the occasional, "Hey, hope you're doing well" message. It's their way of keeping a connection alive without fully committing to letting go. Sigmas find that pathetic. For a Sigma, disappearing means true erasure. If he's gone mentally, emotionally, and digitally. He doesn't waste time on past attachments because he sees no value in maintaining something that no longer serves him. His philosophy is simple. A closed chapter stays closed. He won't block you, not out of pettiness, but because he doesn't need to. You'll just realize one day that he's nowhere to be found. No online presence, no indirect posts, no breadcrumbs. He won't be watching your life from the sidelines because he genuinely doesn't care what happens next. This is what makes a Sigma's absence so unsettling. Most people expect to be haunted by those who leave them. They expect late-night texts, accidental encounters, some sign that the person still thinks about them. With a Sigma, there's nothing. Just silence. Just absence. Just a void where he used to be. And by the time you finally understand that he's never coming back, he's already built a new life. One where your existence isn't even a passing thought. This complete severance is a final act of respect. For himself, for the past, and even for you. By refusing to haunt, he gives both of you the gift of a clean break. He understands that lingering is a form of torture, a slow drip poison of false hope that prevents true healing and moving on. A Sigma's silence is not a game. It is the ultimate clarity. It is his way of communicating that the story has reached its definitive end. There are no post-credit scenes, no deleted scenes to uncover. The narrative is complete, and he has already left the theater. Number 11. They have no interest in the what could have been fantasy. Sigma males don't indulge in fantasies of what could have been. They don't sit around replaying old conversations, romanticizing past moments, or wondering if things would have turned out differently if only. To them, the past is a locked door, and they don't waste time trying to open it. Most men struggle with regret. They replay mistakes, hold on to nostalgia, and convince themselves that maybe, just maybe, things could have been saved. A Sigma doesn't think like that. He knows that every choice he made was final, every decision was deliberate, and every exit was necessary. There's no room for regret when you trust your own judgment. He also understands that people love to rewrite history. They forget the disrespect, the disappointment, the dysfunction. They focus only on the good parts, turning a failed relationship into some tragic love story that was meant to be. Sigmas reject that delusion outright. They don't romanticize what's broken. They don't trick themselves into thinking they lost something great, when in reality they walked away for a reason. That's why a Sigma never looks back. Not because he's cold, but because he's too grounded in reality to entertain fairy tales. He doesn't grieve the past because he sees it exactly as it was. A lesson, not a destination. To him, asking, "What if?" is a pointless exercise. What happened, happened. The choices were made, the consequences followed, and life moved forward. Digging up the past is like digging up a dead body. It serves no purpose but to remind you why it was buried in the first place. And while others are lost in their daydreams of what could have been, the Sigma is already building something better, something real, something future-focused, something that actually matters. This immunity to nostalgia is a strategic advantage. It frees up immense cognitive resources that most people expend on mental time travel. While others are paralyzed by analyzing every fork in the road they took, the Sigma is focused on building the highway ahead. He views the what if as a philosophical black hole, a question with no answer that only consumes energy and light. His mind is a clean, organized workspace dedicated to present and future operations. There is no drawer labeled hypotheticals because he deals exclusively in the currency of actuals and potentials. The past is a concluded experiment, and he does not rerun experiments with known outcomes. Number 12. They burn the bridge and the map. When a Sigma male walks away, he doesn't just burn the bridge. He nukes it, buries the ashes, and erases the coordinates from his mind. There's no way back because he makes sure there's nothing left to return to. Most people leave doors slightly open just in case. They keep numbers saved, revisit old messages, and entertain what-if scenarios. Sigmas see that as weakness. They don't believe in emergency exits back into situations they deliberately left. That's why when a Sigma is done, he's really done. He removes every reason, every temptation, every possible excuse to go back. He doesn't just delete the contact. He deletes the entire history. If you tried to reach out, it would be like trying to contact a ghost. This is not about anger or revenge. It's about permanence. Sigmas don't walk away impulsively. By the time they leave, they've already thought through every outcome, weighed every option, and made peace with the decision. There's no unfinished business, no curiosity, no regrets. Even if the past tries to reach for them through an apology, a coincidence, or a desperate attempt at reconnection, it won't work. Because they don't just burn the bridge. They destroy the map, the compass, and the entire damn road. And by the time you realize how final it was, the Sigma is already so far ahead that the past isn't even a dot in his rearview mirror. A Sigma's departure isn't a pause, a break, or a test. It's the end. When he walks away, he doesn't leave breadcrumbs, hidden exits, or even the possibility of a return. It's not about anger. It's not about ego. It's about evolution. He understands something most people never grasp. Forward is the only direction that matters. While others get stuck in emotional loops, rehashing the past, revisiting old wounds, and reopening closed doors, the Sigma is already 10 steps ahead. Untouched, unmoved, and completely free. He doesn't haunt, he doesn't linger, and he doesn't wonder what if. He just disappears into a future that no longer includes you. This isn't cruelty. This act of total annihilation is the ultimate form of self-preservation. He understands that a single ember is enough to reignite a fire he has already escaped. Therefore, he salts the earth behind him. There are no souvenirs, no mental trophies, and no secret pathways back. The territory is scorched, making it uninhabitable for nostalgia or second thoughts. This isn't an emotional reaction. It is a logistical one. He is ensuring that the path of retreat is completely destroyed, forcing his own psyche to move ever forward. The Sigma isn't just leaving you behind. He is architecting a future where the very concept of going back is rendered impossible by design. In the end, a Sigma knows that the past is nothing more than a lesson. And once that lesson is learned, there is no reason to repeat the class. He doesn't return to what he's outgrown. He doesn't negotiate his boundaries. He doesn't look back. Because he knows that nothing worth having is ever behind him. By the time you realize the weight of his absence, he's already built a new life, stepped into a stronger version of himself, and left every trace of the past in the dust. There is no comeback, no reunion, no unfinished business. He walked away, and that was final. And that's the brutal truth about a Sigma male. When he's gone forever. If this breakdown hit you like a cold dose of reality, then you already know what to do. Hit that like button to let us know you're feeling it. Drop a comment and tell us your thoughts. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This is where we keep it raw, real, and unapologetic. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just straight facts. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Because truth like this, it's not for everyone. But for those who get it, it changes everything. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.